It started like most modern romances do, with a message on a screen. Clara Tan, a 28-year-old marketing manager from Tianbaru, matched with Aaron Lim on a dating app on a humid Tuesday night. His profile was simple, polished, and full of charm, a financial analyst who loved jazz, dogs, and good conversations over Kopi Oko song. For Clara, who had spent months ghosted, breadcrumbed, and emotionally drained by fleeting online encounters, Aaron was a breath of fresh air. He actually called when he said he would. He planned their first date with intention, taking her to a quiet rooftop bar in Shanghai where they talked until last call. He listened. He remembered things. He introduced her to his friends within the first month. She felt chosen. After 3 months, Clara was spending most nights at Aaron's flat in River Valley. He cooked breakfast while she prepared for meetings. They synced calendars. She even found herself fantasizing about wedding dresses and the names of future children. For the first time in years, Clara allowed herself to hope, really hope, that this was it. But, as it always does, hope has a habit of blinding us to the faint signals beneath the surface. The late replies, the mysterious work dinners that always ended past midnight, the sudden change of passwords. Clara chalked it up to stress. After all, Aaron was juggling high-stakes clients. She told herself it was temporary, that it would pass. Until one night, as she waited outside his flat with a bag of takeout and his favorite pandan tarts, Clara saw him. Aaron, hand in hand with another woman, laughing, intimate, careless. She did not cry. Not then. She turned. She walked. She left the food on the steps. She went home. She made tea. And for the first time in weeks, she slept without checking her phone. She would confront him, yes, but not in the way he expected, because Clara Tan did not do heartbreak like everyone else. She planned revenge like a strategist, and Aaron had no idea what was coming. The next morning, Clara woke before sunrise. Her heart was calm, unusually so. She sat at her kitchen table in her Paya Lebar flat, sipping tea, her laptop open before her. No tears. No rage. Just a strange clarity, as though her brain had clicked into a new mode, analytical, detached, focused. She opened a blank document. At the top, she typed, the list. Underneath, she began writing names. Not just Aaron, but every woman Clara had ever known or heard of who had been played, cheated on, manipulated. Friends, colleagues, strangers whose stories she had read in forums or overheard in cafes. A quiet army of broken hearts and unanswered questions. Then, she wrote Aaron's name again. Beside it, she listed the things she knew, his habits, his daily routes, his passwords, his work meetings, even the way he liked his eggs. She knew his weaknesses. His vanity. His obsession with social media. His carefully curated image as the perfect boyfriend, the doting son, the reliable friend. Clara spent the entire Sunday building the plan. By Monday morning, she had a strategy worthy of a military op. She called it the extraction. Phase 1. Isolation. She would slowly distance herself without drawing suspicion. No arguments. No closure conversations. She would smile, nod, agree. Keep him relaxed. Phase 2. Data. She began copying screenshots, saving messages, backing up photos. Everything. She even logged into his old Telegram account, a mistake he had made once by syncing it to her tablet. It was still logged in. There she found what she already suspected. The woman from that night was not the only one. There were 3, possibly 4, all recent, all unaware of each other. Clara took notes. She created folders. She gave each woman a name, not a real one, just enough to track. Red dress, yoga girl, office crush, and the one from Instagram he saved under delivery. By Friday, Clara had gathered everything. And in that same calm state, she stared at the neatly labeled folders. This was not just about Aaron anymore. This was about justice. About the power of walking away not with tears, but with receipts. Clara waited until the following Tuesday. She chose a quiet evening when Aaron had gone for his usual game of pool with his friends at Holland Village. His phone buzzed once on the sofa. She didn't touch it. She didn't need to. She had already done the work. That night, she sent out 3 emails. No anger. No accusation. Just information. Each woman received a similar message. Polite. Measured. Factual. Hi. I believe you may not know me, but we have something in common. I'm reaching out to you in confidence to share a few things that may concern you. Attached are screenshots and details. I'm not asking for anything. Just thought you had the right to know. Then silence. Clara didn't check her inbox again that night. She just went to bed, her breathing even, her conscience undisturbed. The first reply came at 6:30 the next morning. Yoga girl. Her real name was Nadia. Nadia was stunned, heartbroken, furious. She had been seeing Aaron for 3 months. He told her Clara was an ex who couldn't let go. Clara clenched her jaw reading that. She replied simply, "You deserve better." Then came red dress. A woman named Rachel. She lived in a condo near Clark Way. Her message was colder, more restrained. I had my suspicions. Thank you for confirming. I'm done with him. Then office crush. Her name was Emily. She worked 2 floors below Aaron in his company at Raffles Place. Clara's chest tightened at that one. Aaron had sworn he never mixed work and dating. Emily's message was brief. No emotion. I'm glad you told me. I was stupid. Not anymore. All 3 had cut ties with Aaron within 2 days. He didn't know yet. Not really. He thought they had just grown cold. He started texting Clara more often, needing reassurance. But she kept her responses light and vague. She was already preparing Phase 3, public exposure. It began with a birthday. Aaron's. He was turning 32. He insisted on throwing a big party at a rooftop bar near Marina Bay. Clara went along with it, smiling through her teeth. She wore a sleek green dress, one that Aaron once said made her look expensive. The guest list was filled with Aaron's people, old schoolmates, colleagues, gym buddies, random business contacts. Clara knew many of them, some too well. They smiled at her like nothing had ever happened. Clara noticed the ones who didn't smile. Nadia was there. So was Emily. Both had come with mutual friends. Clara had informed them in advance that she'd be attending. They had agreed on a simple plan: stay polite, stay cool, observe. The evening moved in slow, glittering waves. Music, cocktails, curated photos under string lights. Aaron basked in it. He was the center of every group, a conductor of charm. His voice rose above the crowd with jokes that always ended in his own laughter. Clara drifted between conversations, all surface, all hollow, until a toast was called. Aaron stood on a raised platform with a drink in hand. To 32 years of survival, he grinned. And to the incredible women in my life, especially Clara, who never stops loving me no matter how much I mess up. Everyone laughed. Clara smiled. Then silence. A voice rang out from the back. She loves you? That's a bit rich, coming from a man who cheated on her with 3 women in 6 months. Nadia. The room turned. Rachel added, and lied to all of them, including me. Emily's voice was sharp. You're not charming, Aaron. You're a fraud. The laughter turned to whispers. Then gasps. Aaron blinked. What the hell is this? Clara stepped forward. Calm. Composed. I told them the truth, Aaron. They had the right to know. Aaron's face dropped. The silence was complete now. Even the music had stopped. Someone said, "You've got some nerve." Then another muttered, "What a joke." Aaron walked off the stage, his face flushed and panicked. Clara didn't follow. She didn't need to. This time, the women stood with her. The rooftop party was over. What followed was silence from Aaron. For days, he didn't call or text. Clara half expected a tantrum. Instead, there was nothing. Not even his usual self-justifying voice notes. It was unnerving. Clara returned to her flat in Bukit Merah. For the first time in months, the air felt breathable. Her phone stayed quiet. No guilt trips, no calls in the middle of the night. She went back to her routines, morning walks, cooking for herself, reading in peace. She had thought confronting him in public would feel like victory. It didn't. It felt like peeling away the final layer of a wound that had long festered. The pain wasn't sharp. It was dull and hollow. A quiet grief for all the time she had lost. For the version of herself she had buried to keep the peace. Then one night he appeared. Clara was locking her door when she turned and saw him, standing by the corridor, holding a single red rose. "Aaron." She froze.
"You told them," he said.
"I did," Clara replied calmly. "They deserve the truth." He stepped closer. "You humiliated me. You humiliated yourself, Aaron." His hand gripped the rose too tightly. A thorn must have pricked his finger, because a drop of blood slid down the stem. "You think you've won, Clara? There's no winning here. Just walking away." He laughed. Low, bitter. "You've always been so proud. So righteous." Clara tilted her head. "And you've always been scared of being small. That's why you lie. Why you cheat. Because the truth terrifies you." Aaron stared at her. For the first time in years, he looked exactly as he was, small, lost, and no longer in control. Clara turned, unlocked her door, and walked inside. She didn't slam the door. She simply closed it and locked it. Clara sat by her window the next morning, a warm kopi in her hand, the skyline of southern Singapore bathed in early sunlight. Her phone buzzed once. It was a message from Aaron. It read, "I'm sorry. Please talk to me." She deleted it. That afternoon, she opened her journal, the old one she used to hide at the back of her drawer. It was filled with pieces of herself from years ago. Scribbled pages, doodles, half-written poems. And then, tucked between 2 pages, she found something unexpected. A letter. It was dated nearly 3 years ago. Her own handwriting. Unsent. Addressed to herself. She began to read. "Clara, if you're reading this, it means you're still here. Still hoping. Still trying to make sense of love that hurts more than it heals. I don't know why you keep forgiving him. Maybe because you think it makes you strong. Maybe because you're afraid to start over. But listen, this is not strength. This is survival. And there's a difference. You deserve mornings without fear, days without walking on eggshells. You deserve to be believed. To laugh without apology." Clara closed her eyes. She had forgotten she ever wrote this. But the voice in that letter was hers. A younger version. One who hadn't yet found the courage to leave, but had already begun to see the truth. She folded the letter carefully and tucked it into a new page of the journal. Then she picked up a pen and began a new entry. "Today, I saw him without the mask. And I saw myself, finally, without the chains." Outside, a breeze stirred the curtains. Inside, Clara smiled. The next few days passed slowly. The world seemed to carry on, unaffected by the turbulence in Clara's life. At work, she found herself distracted, her thoughts drifting back to the time she spent with Aaron. To the quiet moments that had once felt like peace but now felt like shackles. That Saturday, Clara decided to visit a small park by the water. It had always been her escape from the noise of the city. She walked along the pathway, the air fresh and the sky clear. The gentle sound of water lapping against the shore soothed her thoughts. As she sat on the edge of the dock, Clara thought about the letters she had written to herself. The past year felt like a blur, but she was beginning to see the pieces falling into place. She had been holding on to something that no longer existed, a version of love that was more fantasy than reality. Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from Aaron again. "Please, Clara. I miss you." She stared at the words, her heart pounding. She thought of the letter, the one she had written so long ago. She thought of all the pain she had carried, all the times she had convinced herself that it was worth it. But as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the water, Clara realized something. It wasn't just Aaron who needed to change. It was her. She needed to stop waiting for him to fix what was broken. She needed to find her own peace. She stood up slowly, feeling the weight of the moment. With one last glance at the water, she walked away from the park and the past she had clung to for so long. The days that followed Clara's walk by the water were a blur. She was both free and burdened, her heart torn between the desire to move on and the lingering pull of the past.
But there was something different now.
A small, quiet shift in her mind that she couldn't ignore. At work, she was more focused than ever. For the first time in months, she felt the weight of the world lift from her shoulders. It wasn't that she had forgotten about Aaron. It was that she had started to understand something she hadn't before. The world, her world, didn't need to revolve around him. One evening, as Clara sat in her apartment, she thought about the plans she had once made with him. They had always been full of dreams, full of promises, but those promises were empty now. She thought of her future, of the person she wanted to become. She had spent so much of her life chasing something that wasn't real, holding on to a dream that only existed in her mind. It was then that Clara decided something. She would take control of her life. She wouldn't wait for Aaron or anyone else to give her permission to be happy. It was her time now. The next day, Clara packed a bag and went to a yoga class she had been eyeing for weeks. The moment she stepped onto the mat, she felt like she was beginning again. Each movement, each breath, was a step closer to the person she was meant to be. The yoga instructor, a woman with a calm and steady presence, smiled as she led the class through a series of stretches. By the end of the session, Clara felt a sense of peace that she hadn't felt in a long time. She wasn't sure where the journey would take her, but she knew it was her journey, and she was finally ready to embrace it. Weeks passed, and Clara's life continued to take shape in ways she hadn't expected. She had found a new rhythm, one that didn't involve Aaron, and that was enough. But one morning, as she was walking to work, she bumped into him. Aaron. For a moment, time stood still. Clara's heart skipped a beat as she saw him standing there, looking just as she remembered. His hair was slightly longer, his eyes still held that familiar intensity. But there was something else in his gaze, something different, something she couldn't quite place. "Clara," he said softly, his voice as warm as it had always been. "It's been a while." She nodded, unsure of what to say. They both stood there, awkwardly, as the world around them moved on, indifferent to the significance of this moment. "I didn't expect to see you here," Aaron continued, a half-smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "How have you been?" Clara took a deep breath, the familiar emotions stirring inside her, but this time, they didn't control her. She had changed. She was different now, stronger. "I'm doing well," she replied, her voice steady. "I've been focusing on myself. It's been good." There was a long pause as they both took a step back from the moment. Clara could feel the tension, but she also felt something else, a sense of closure. She wasn't sure if Aaron felt it too, but for her, this encounter wasn't about picking up where they had left off. It was about letting go. "I'm glad to hear that," Aaron said quietly. "You deserve to be happy, Clara." The words hung in the air between them, and for the first time in a long while, Clara felt a sense of peace. She didn't need Aaron's approval. She didn't need anyone's approval. She had found her own path, and it was enough. With a final nod, Clara turned and walked away. She didn't look back.